Hey guys, Jennette here for your second film of the week. This week I watched The Life Aquatic with Steve Zissou. It's a Wes Anderson movie. Wes Anderson is one of my favorite filmmakers. His shots in particular are I love them so much. The first Wes Anderson movie I saw was I think it was Moonrise Kingdom, if that was before Grand Budapest Hotel. I'm not sure, but I was really taken with it, whichever my first one was. I guess not as taken as I should have been, considering I can't remember which one it was, but that's beside the point. I think the way Wes Anderson writes is so cool. He's got his characters talking in ways that are just hilarious and kind of static and stilted, and he just has such a distinct style. I feel like he's so specific and has such a clear point of view that you either love him or you hate him. I don't think there's much of like a middle ground territory with Wes Anderson, and those tend to be my favorite kinds of artists. The Life Aquatic with Steve Zissou. It stars Bill Murray, Cate Blanchett, Owen Wilson. Owen Wilson actually wrote it. No, I think Noah Baumbach wrote it with Wes. I'm looking it up. Wes Anderson and Noah Baumbach wrote it. I love Noah Baumbach as well. So the movie in general, I got kind of bored during. There were bits and pieces where my attention span kind of waned and it was hard for me to kind of stay involved. But I think that was mostly because of what it was about, as opposed to the content and the execution, which is what I was completely enamored with. So it's about a guy who's sort of a tired documentary filmmaker, and he's lost his magic touch. He's not really excited about life. He's kind of just over the hill, over it, maybe a little bit of a midlife crisis type of vibe and attitude to him, played naturally by Bill Murray. This movie, this new documentary that this filmmaker is trying to put together, it takes place underwater, basically. So they're on a boat and they're getting a lot of underwater footage and going into a submarine, and they're trying to capture this big shark. I forget what the shark's called. I kind of like aquatic themed things occasionally, but in general the ocean scares me. Not too big of a fan. I think that might be why I was disinterested. The color palette I loved. Really interesting. Again, like I said, the shots, the dialogue, I loved. I took some notes and I'm just gonna tell you guys what in particular stood out at me. There was one line where Cate Blanchett says she doesn't like cussing, and then something happens like 5 seconds later and she says fuck. And I just thought that play on humanity is hilarious, where she literally just said something about herself and then couldn't help herself and did exactly what she said she doesn't do. The social commentary in that is nuanced and done impeccably. Then there was another line where Cate Blanchett's talking with Owen Wilson, and they're talking about some sort of relatives or something. I made this note after the fact, so I'm definitely spotty on the fact. Owen Wilson asks Cate Blanchett, like, oh, how'd that person that you know die? And she said, killed herself, and he kind of gives like a sad look. And then she said, how'd like your mom die or whatever? And he goes, she had stomach cancer and it spread to her liver and her pancreas, also killed herself. And I thought I thought that was great, because she says killed herself, everybody's sad, right? And then Owen Wilson's talking about this horrible cancer that's spread everywhere, and then touches on it by saying that she actually also died by killing herself. And I just thought I don't know how to explain the humor in that, but I definitely get it. Like, I was laughing. If one of you wants to try taking a whack at finding the humor, at explaining and describing the humor in that, please, that would be great. Or if there's like a proper psychological term for why that's funny, go for it. Another point, it's just a small little thing, but there's like a lot of claymation throughout the movie. And at one point, there's Bill Murray's just kind of, I don't know what he's doing. He's like looking onward, and then a lizard kind of crawls up his arm and he just flicks it off. And just the shot makes me laugh so hard, because this little lizard just goes like flying through the air, and it says so much about his character, the fact that he'd be willing to literally just flick a living thing off of his arm with no regard for its life, with no regard for its health or well-being. Just, I mean, there's no words, and it says everything you need to know about Bill Murray's character, Steve Zissou. This line actually made me laugh so hard. Bill Murray, in a very dry way, that's both Bill Murray and Wes Anderson, like, wrapped into one thing, says, I'm not big on apologizing, so I'll just skip that part. Anyway, I'm sorry. And then he continues on. And I think that's like sort of that ongoing theme where it's the hypocritical nature of people, and you say one thing and then do exactly that, or maybe it's not even about being hypocritical as people, but it's more about not being self-aware and saying something that you assume makes you sound self-aware, and then saying something immediately after that negates that faux self-awareness and actually shows that you don't know yourself worth a damn. And then then there was like a runner on that. So on that joke about where Cate Blanchett says she doesn't like cussing, then she shortly after says fuck. There's a follow-up to that much later in the movie, which I just thought was brilliant, where she says, "What the fuck are you doing here?" Then Bill Murray says back to her, "What the F are you doing here?" So it's like he takes her not cussing, and then he's kind of throwing that in her face, and I thought it was so funny. Another moment, spoiler alert, Bill Murray is Owen Wilson's character's dad in the film, and a big theme is kind of the strain between that relationship, but it's played really humorously and not at all in a sappy way, and it's just, I think, so well done. Toward the end, Bill Murray's character's kind of completing his arc, and he's feeling a little bit of remorse for his strained relationship with his son and for not being there for him. And the way that he shows his remorse, or the way that Wes Anderson has him show his remorse, is with this line. It's so good. "I'm sorry I never acknowledged your existence all those years. It won't happen again." I mean it. That's so good. It's just, oh my God, it makes my day. The understanding of the sadness of human nature that Wes Anderson possesses gives me hope and makes me so happy. And Noah Baumbach, he may very well have written that line as well. Oh my God, this other line. Okay, this made me laugh so hard too. So basically I marked all the points where I actually laughed out loud, or where I really paused the movie because it made me think about something in a big way, or kind of got me off on a tangent. So this is one of those moments that really made me laugh. Bill Murray says to his son, again in that kind of like wan way, he goes, "I want to communicate my feelings to you, but I think I might start to cry." It's so good. That is so good. And then another, this feels like a different voice, kind of. I think all the ones that I've mentioned there seem pretty consistent point of view wise, and then this seems like a different voice, so I guess it surprised me. It was toward the end of the movie. One of the characters, I don't even remember who said it, honestly, or in what context, but they said, I had it on the plane, what was I going to say? And it's said in such a subtle way that's really hilarious and, again, nuanced. I've used that word a few times, but I think that really is appropriate for the movie. But I think saying, "I had it on the plane, what was I going to say?" says so much, because it speaks to the fact that we aren't really communicating in the moment with one another a lot of the times, because we like pre-plan and presuppose what we're going to say, premeditate what we're going to do. And in that one line, they sum up so much about the falsities of human interaction. I had it on the plane. What was I going to say? So those are my thoughts, you guys, on The Life Aquatic with Steve Zissou. It is, I definitely think, worth a watch if you're interested in anything good. The things I liked most, to kind of wrap it all up, the point of view and the dialogue, the clear, distinct voice that was so harmoniously blended between Wes Anderson and Noah Baumbach, the shots, the color palettes, the really uniform performances, where it almost seems like some of the characters are interchangeable, yet also really subtle within themselves. That's all. Bye.